Hey there, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a topic that's not just shaping our future, but really it's actively defining our present. Artificial intelligence. It's a field just buzzing with innovation, yeah, but also intense debate and, let's be honest, a fascinating amount of chaos, too. You've probably seen the headlines, maybe you've even, experimented with some AI tools yourself, fiddled around a bit. But what's truly happening beneath the surface in 2025? We've pulled together a whole stack of sources, cutting-edge academic reports, in-depth industry surveys, and our mission today is basically to sift through it all, extracting the most important insights for you.
That's right. We're going to try and navigate the current AI landscape, looking at the significant technological leaps, definitely, but also the complex economic ripples and the pretty profound societal impacts. But crucially, we're also going to confront a term that's just popped up everywhere, AI slop. Is this slop a sign of a fundamental flaw in the tech, or maybe just a symptom of its rapid and sometimes kind of clumsy growth?
Precisely. We'll unpack why this slop seems so prevalent, what it actually means for your work, your digital content, and maybe even your trust in the information you consume every single day. And most importantly, we'll try to map out the path forward towards what we're calling AI pull strategies for a future where AI genuinely augments human creativity, delivers real discernible value. So let's peel back the layers and really uncover what these developments truly mean for us, maybe shift how we think about AI altogether. Okay, so let's unpack these foundational shifts first. We've certainly come a long, long way from the early days of AI. The bedrock of modern generative AI, of course, is the transformer architecture, that groundbreaking neural network design from 2017. It fundamentally changed how AI processes language, right? By understanding relationships between words in sequence. This is the tech behind the large language models, the LLMs, like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Claude, all the big names. And their adoption is just accelerating like crazy.
A February 2025 NBER report indicates that 39% of people are now using generative AI for work or personal purposes, almost 40%.
Yeah, and a key development that's truly intriguing here is how our understanding of these complex systems is evolving. It's not just about using them anymore. Researchers from Italy's CISA Media Lab, they've made a really critical breakthrough. They discovered what they call a phase transition in LLMs, which, in simple terms, it's like a sudden, nonlinear jump in capability, a real leap. It's this pivotal moment where the model stops relying just on word position, like predicting the next word, and suddenly grasps the meaning of the text. Think of it like a light bulb switching on for a human child learning to read. It's not gradual improvement, it's an instant click into understanding. It just gets it. And this finding, well, it offers a significant counter-narrative to that common critique that AI is just an unexplainable black box. It potentially opens doors to more transparent and ultimately more trustworthy AI down the line.
That understanding, moving beyond the black box, that has to be foundational for building genuine trust in these systems, doesn't it? And it's not just about text anymore, is it? We're rapidly moving into these multimodal systems, things like Meta's Image Bind and Google's Gemini, which seamlessly integrate and process different types of data, text, images, video, audio, even motion, all together. Plus, agentic AI platforms are progressing. That's where AI can actually act autonomously on behalf of users to complete tasks, do things for you. It's even led Microsoft Research to controversially suggest that GPT-4 could reasonably be viewed as an early, it's still incomplete, version of an artificial general intelligence AGI system. That's a huge claim, basically suggesting it's showing signs of human-level cognitive abilities across a whole range of tasks.
It is indeed a significant leap in perception, definitely. Maybe not yet in full realization, but the perception is shifting. The core insight here, I think, is that AI's capabilities are expanding not just in sheer power, but in scope and integration. It's really pushing the boundaries of what we thought possible just a few years ago.
Okay, so given these incredible technological breakthroughs, the obvious next question is, how is this all impacting the business world? Are companies really ready for this kind of shift? A Q1 2025 IDCA survey found AI is now a top business priority for a whopping 87% of companies, with 76% actively using some form of AI and 69% specifically leveraging generative AI in at least one business function. That's huge adoption.
Yeah, and zooming out from that, the economic ramifications are, a subject of intense debate, as you might expect. There's no clear consensus. You see these really bullish forecasts, like from Goldman Sachs, predicting a staggering $7 trillion global GDP impact, and McKinsey goes even higher, maybe $17.1 to $25.6 trillion over the next decade, just massive numbers. But then you have someone like MIT professor Daron Acemoglu offering a much more conservative estimate. He's thinking more like a non-trivial but modest 1% boost to U.S. GDP.
Wow, that's a massive difference in projection. projections, 7 trillion versus 1%. Why
Yep.
such a significant disparity? What does that tell us?
That's the critical question, isn't it? Asimoglu argues it largely comes down to how AI is actually being applied in the real world right now. He says while AI could technically replace or significantly augment nearly 20% of U.S. labor tasks, he suggests only about 5% of these will actually be profitably performed by AI in the near term.
Only 5%. Why so low?
A reason. Implementation costs. They often just outweigh the benefits, especially initially. Right now, AI is most effectively applied to, the easy-to-learn tasks with clearly measurable outcomes. Simple stuff, relatively speaking. But when you try to apply it to more complex tasks, the initial productivity gains are often limited. And organizations face these significant adjustment costs as they try to redesign entire workflows. It's disruptive. So the critical insight here is that while AI's potential is vast, its profitable and widespread application is proving far more complex than maybe the initial height suggested. In fact, a McKinsey survey found that less than 20% of organizations have seen a material enterprise-wide impact on their bottom line, their EBIT, from generative AI.
Okay, so for businesses listening, this means focusing on very specific, measurable tasks for AI, not these grand, sweeping overhauls, maybe, if they want to see real ROI soon. But beyond those macroeconomic debates, we're seeing some really profound and maybe unsettling shifts in the labor market, particularly for new entrants. This might hit close to home for many of you listening. A Stanford Digital Economy Lab study found a significant drop in employment for young, entry-level workers. We're talking 22 to 25-year-olds, especially in jobs highly exposed to AI, like software engineering and customer service roles. Meanwhile, older employees in the very same roles actually saw their numbers stabilize, or even, in some cases, rise. The study vividly calls young workers canaries in a coal mine, suggesting AI could be eroding those traditional entry-level career paths, the first rung on a ladder.
Yeah, and this really raises an important question about the distribution of AI's benefits, who's actually gaining. Because despite all these efficiency gains we hear so much about, wages have remained stagnant across all age groups since 2022, just flat. So it appears the benefits of AI-driven productivity are, well, concentrated at the top, maybe, not really translating into better pay for the broader employee base. Asimoglu takes this even further. He warns that a country's GDP could increase, but overall societal welfare might actually decline, driven by negative impacts like, say, more powerfully addictive algorithms or increasingly sophisticated security threats, sort of echoing what we've already seen with social media, right? The profound implication for us, I think, is that economic growth driven by AI doesn't automatically equal widespread societal benefit. Not a given. We need to actively manage how these technologies are deployed to try and ensure a more equitable outcome.
Those are some stark warnings.
Yeah.
It really makes you think. And beyond the economic and labor market concerns, we're grappling with these deep ethical challenges too. Things that strike at the very fabric of our information ecosystem. We're talking about the rapid spread of incredibly convincing deep fakes, designed to manipulate public opinion. The trampling of intellectual property rights as AI scrapes data from everywhere, and AI amplifying biases in these insidious ways, making content appear authoritative even when it's fundamentally flawed or prejudiced.
Yeah, and what's truly intriguing here is what's been termed the truthfulness-persuasiveness paradox. It's fascinating. While AI has become incredibly eloquent, very persuasive in its output, it's only factually truthful about 25% of the time on average. That's according to the Truthful QA benchmark.
Only 25%? Wow.
Yeah. And the core problem isn't just that AI gets things wrong. It's that it gets them wrong in such a convincing, well-structured, and fluent way. It sounds right. That makes it far more likely to be believed and shared, unfortunately. This fundamentally blurs the line between authentic human content and AI-generated stuff, a danger the UN explicitly highlighted regarding the spread of false and hateful information. So the key takeaway, then, for all of us really is this. In the age of AI, eloquence is no longer a reliable proxy for truth. Not at all. We have to fundamentally rethink our default trust in digital information. We need to shift from just passive consumption to active critical evaluation, asking questions. The pace of AI adoption, unfortunately, has kind of outrun regulation. One expert even noted efforts to control it are maybe a little too late, although things like the UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of AI are a positive step, moving towards transparency and human oversight. But we're playing catch-up.
That's a powerful call to action for every one of us, definitely, to be much more discerning consumers of information. And this brings us neatly to a term that sort of encapsulates so many of these issues, AI slop. You've probably encountered it, even if you didn't know the term. It's that low-quality, high-volume media, could be writing, images, even videos created predominantly using generative AI. It's often characterized by just a noticeable lack of human effort, right? It feels like digital clutter or unwanted and unasked for content, a lot like the spam that floods our inboxes.
Indeed. Slop is pretty identifiable by several hallmarks if you know what to look for. Things like repetitive or nonsensical text that sounds plausible but really lacks substance when you look closely. Obvious keyword stuffing designed purely for search engines, not for humans. Outright misinformation sometimes. And the overuse of AI-generated visuals that exhibit those uncanny artifacts or anatomical failures, smudged faces, weird perspectives, or famously extra digits like 6 fingers.
Ah, yes, the 6 fingers, a dead giveaway sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's not just that it looks bad, often, but it also feels empty, right? Lacking real purpose or genuine quality. How does this slop really contrast with truly valuable AI-augmented content? What's the difference?
Exactly. While slop is often low effort, mass-produced via unsupervised AI with maybe minimal human input, quality content uses AI as an augmentative tool. It helps, but doesn't replace. It's used within a human-centric workflow, so the human is still very much in the driver's seat making the key decisions. For example, slop tends to be generic, repetitive, often just rearranging existing data it was trained on, whereas quality content aims to provide unique insights, original perspectives, real value. Visually, like we said, slop has those uncanny imperfections, the weirdness. Quality content is polished, it's contextually appropriate, it makes sense, and the objective is different too. The goal of slop is often just to farm engagement, get clicks, or produce content as cheaply as possible, volume over value. While quality content aims to build trust, build a relationship, and genuinely provide value to an audience.
Right? Build trust, not just farm clicks. We've seen real-world examples of this slop, like that whole shrimp Jesus phenomenon a while back, where these bizarre viral AI images were created purely for engagement, showing how absurd content can spread like wildfire if it gets clicks. And remember in gaming, the Call of Duty example, fans were outraged by those Necroclaws loading screens that had characters with 6 fingers. Activision later had to admit that was due to generative AI use. Didn't go over well. And this directly impacts businesses, right? It damages brand reputation, erodes audience trust. There's an MIT study showing low-quality AI content can actually cut reader trust by 38%. That's significant. Plus, Google is actively penalizing sites that use unedited AI-generated spam. Their search rankings can just plummet, so there are real consequences.
Yeah, and stepping back to consider the broader implications again, the proliferation of slop isn't just a technological problem. It also reflects maybe some broader societal trends. Some argue it stems partly from our cultural preference for content that is, well, easy to digest, content that doesn't challenge us too much. And AI is expertly designed to serve up exactly that kind of easily consumable, maybe superficial content. Algorithms often reward this optimized, easy content, creating this dangerous feedback loop where low effort yields high engagement, reinforcing the cycle. This dynamic kind of frames AI slop not just as a flaw inherent in the AI itself, but maybe as a symptom of a consumer culture with a high tolerance for low-quality stuff, and an industry maybe prioritizing volume and speed over real value and originality. And it also quietly kills opportunities for real people, doesn't it? It can lead to creative industry layoffs, and it puts pressure on everyone to create more sameness in their output, less originality.
That's a really critical distinction. It's not necessarily the AI's fault, but how we choose to use it, and maybe what we, as a society, choose to reward online. Clickbait versus quality. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Whether you're a learner, a creator, a business owner, is AI slop just here to stay? Is this the new normal? Well, the good news is the evidence seems to suggest it's more likely a temporary phase, a kind of growing pain maybe, rather than a terminal flaw inherent to the technology itself. The core issue is, as we've discussed, its misuse, what's often called sloppy automation, using it badly.
Precisely. And the market is already self-correcting in some pretty powerful ways. It's not static. The loss of audience trust we mentioned, those direct SEO penalties from Google, the damage to brand reputation, these create powerful economic incentives for businesses to actually improve quality, to do better. You also see leading AI thought leaders openly criticizing the limitations of current models. They're advocating for a move beyond just basic LLMs towards more sophisticated, objective-driven architectures, more capable systems. So the future really points towards high-quality, AI-driven content becoming the standard, hopefully, where companies mastering that human-in-the-loop model will be the ones that truly succeed. The ultimate insight here, I think, is that the market itself is already starting to reject purely automated, low-effort AI output. It's pushing us toward a future where human judgment and oversight are paramount. They have to be.
That leads us compellingly then to the path to AI Polish, this idea of a symbiotic partnership where humans and AI truly thrive together, not one replacing the other. Consider Daryl Anselmo's AI Slop project, ironically named as a kind of practical blueprint. He uses AI tools like Midjourney for images, Kling AI for video clips, Suno for music to generate the raw assets, the basic building blocks. But then, and this is key, human expertise is reserved for the crucial creative and quality assurance steps. Things like editing it all together in Adobe Premiere Pro, adding a final visual polish with Topaz Video AI. It's about curation, refinement, and artistic direction by a skilled human operator using AI as a powerful assistant.
Yeah, and academic research is also tackling this problem directly. There's a recent paper exploring training AI models to critically evaluate and improve their own writing, essentially teaching them to act as their own editors through what they call edit-based rewards, getting the AI to critique itself. And in the commercial sphere, the market is rapidly moving towards more enterprise-grade solutions. Things like the Contents platform, for example. These platforms aim to ensure brand voice consistency, help with SEO optimization, and crucially provide integrated human oversight within the workflow. So this approach embeds human expertise directly into the AI process, ensuring quality control at every step, not just bolting it on at the end.
Okay, so for you listening, whether you're a business leader, an individual creator, or just someone trying to navigate this evolving digital world, what are the most important takeaways for smart, effective AI integration? How do you achieve that polish instead of slop?
Well, the single most important recommendation I'd say is to maintain robust human oversight, always. First, use AI as a tool, not a replacement. That's fundamental. It should augment human creativity, not supplant it. It can help with research, brainstorming, automating repetitive tasks, sure, but that frees up human talent for the higher level creativity and strategic thinking. Second, prioritize human editing and fact-checking, always. AI, as we established, can produce misinformation, outdated info, or just subtle biases. So human intervention is absolutely essential for accuracy, for credibility, and for maintaining your unique brand consistency and voice. And third, focus on value, not volume. Resist that temptation to just publish more, think less, because the tools make it easy. The goal should always be to produce unique, insightful content that genuinely resonates with your audience, builds trust, not just hitting some arbitrary content quota, quality over quantity. Furthermore, looking ahead, as AI-generated content gets increasingly sophisticated, maybe harder to distinguish from human-created work just by looking at it, our methods of detection also have to advance. We need to get better at spotting it. Journalists, for instance, are already moving beyond just simple visual cues, like counting fingers. They're using more forensic analyses, looking for a lack of natural imperfections, real life is messy, understanding subtle visual textures, and ultimately relying on a kind of gut check for content that seems too good to be true or suspiciously generic or just...
Right, that human intuition, that gut feeling. And this is where you come in as a human with your unique perspective and judgment.
Precisely. In a world that's going to be increasingly saturated with AI's associative creativity, its incredible ability to rearrange, synthesize, and optimize existing data, the value of human original creativity will dramatically increase. It becomes more precious. This unique creativity stems from your personal experiences, your unique intentionality, your goals, and your distinct voice. That's something AI simply cannot replicate. It doesn't have lived experience. So the ultimate safeguard against slop and the erosion of trust isn't just technological fixes, it's profoundly societal. It requires a new form of digital literacy, a critical thinking skill that empowers all of us, to critically evaluate information and truly understand the mechanisms behind AI-generated content, how it's made, why it's made, and what its limitations are.
So we've gone on quite the deep dive today, haven't we? Covered a lot of ground. From those mind-blowing breakthroughs in AI's fundamental understanding of meaning, all the way to the very real, practical challenges of AI slop and the future of work, it's undeniably clear we're in this incredibly dynamic transition period right now, moving from just radical innovation to more strategic integration and, critically, refinement, learning how to use it well.
Exactly. And AI slop, well, it seems to be a clear symptom of this transition. Definitely not a terminal disease for the technology itself. The future of AI isn't about full automation replacing humans or, total human control rejecting AI. It's got to be a vibrant symbiotic partnership. By leveraging AI's speed and scale for those repetitive, data-intensive tasks, while reserving human creativity, emotional intelligence, ethical judgment, and strategic oversight for the core of the work, we can genuinely move from the slop of these early messy days to a future of real AI polish. The most valuable asset in that post-slop world, I believe, is not the AI itself, but the human. The human with the critical eye, the unique voice, and that unwavering commitment to quality and truth.
That's such a powerful thought for you to carry forward, I think. It really reframes the whole thing. It means the question for individuals and organizations is no longer just, can AI do this task? That's becoming less interesting. But rather, how can we use AI to do this better, more efficiently, maybe more creatively? And crucially, how do we ensure the final product is trustworthy, original, and deeply resonates with our audience? This delicate balance, this mastery of human-AI collaboration, that is truly what will define the future, it seems. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning as this field continues to evolve at lightning speed.